Gordon Banks, we're at the Savoy. It's the Football Writers Association tribute to Pele. Now, unfortunately, he's not able to make it tonight. He's not in the best of health. So I just wondered, do you have a message for him that we can send back to him in Brazil?
Oh yes, definitely. We all over here, Pele, hope that you will get better very, very quickly and be able to come back across here sometime again. And we'd love to see you again over here. We've just enjoyed so much of what you've done for us, and we all hope that you get better as soon as possible.
Now, Gordon, tell us what it was like playing against Pele. There's that famous save you made in 1970 that everyone talks about, but you must have spoken to him many times about that.
Yeah, he always says to me when he comes over here, he says, I travel all over the world, he says, and people talk about the goals that I scored, he says, but when I come to England, all they talk about is that save that you made to me. so he's such a nice guy, a superb player, really was something special. And in fact, he was definitely, and believe me, I played against some great players. He was the best player I'd ever played against, yeah.
How do you think he compares with some of the players of the modern era? Would he still be scoring goals at the rate he did if he was playing today?
Oh, definitely, without any question, yeah, definitely. I mean, that ball today is much lighter, so he'd be curling it, bending it, doing all sorts with it. Believe me, he knew exactly what to do with that ball. Great player.
And he sort of created things that we hadn't seen before. You know, he had great imagination, didn't he? Some of the things, he was the first one we saw trying to score from the halfway line. And the one against Uruguay where he dummied the keeper and went round him. You know, he was a great innovator, wasn't he?
Oh, he was, yeah, great. He just seemed to know everything about the game. And as you said, brought in these new things within himself. He'd done himself. So it just shows you what skills and everything he'd got.
And in terms of that save, is that something, again, that people always talk to you about? Is it the one thing that you'll probably be, even after winning the World Cup in '66, people will remember that just as much, won't they?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Wherever I go, they talk about that save against Pele. Yeah. It was a bit special to me because we played in a country that we weren't used to. I mean, when we played them that day, played them midday, it was 103 degrees, and the pitch was harder than this. Believe me, it was harder than this. And when I got over there, I'd noticed how hard the pitches were. And of course, when we had training sessions and started to have some shooting sessions, I noticed the ball when it was dropping in front of me, it was kicking up, not like here in England. You know, it stayed lower in England. So I started to do a little bit of it. Then I asked the manager, I told the boss, Alf, that I'd like to stop back a bit and do some extra shooting to get used to it. And I did get used to it kicking up in front of me. And that's what helped me make the save. And what happened was he was round about the penalty spot when the guy crossed the cross for him from the wing. And I could see him, I knew he was going to get up to it very, very close. And he was he could jump really, really high. So he got up there, and I knew that I had to come off that line to narrow the angle. And once he punched it with his head to my right-hand side, I knew I'd got to get over very, very quickly. And I was just, I would say, between the two, the 6-yard line and the goal line, you know, probably be about between the two. And when he punched it, I knew it was going to bounce just inside. I knew it was going in. And as I started to dive over, I'd got to anticipate how high it was going to come up from the hard surface, which as I reached across, I got it right, and it hit the top of my hand, and it went in that direction. And I honestly thought it was a goal. And as it hit the floor, I saw the ball bounce behind the goal. And I thought to myself, Banksy, you lucky twat.
What was it Bobby Moore said at that time? Didn't Bobby come out with some quip as well?
Well, I say that at me after dinners, or I used to. I don't do them now. Just question answers. But I used to say, he walked over to me and I was laid down on the floor, and he patted me on the back and he said, "Banksy, try and get a hold of them for Christ's sake. No silly corners."